I started taking birth control before I started having sex because I had long cycles, so I would like have a period for a month.
Yeah. God damn it.
I love comedy. Listen to me talk about my body.
Fuck.
We love women's bodies.
Shit, dude.
You know, my heart does go out to the people who are sensitive to
Are
blood,
we
though.
recording yet?
Are
we get that?
Yeah.
I guess
okay.
leave it in. I don't know. Because it was kind of an organic
Do you guys know
moment.
people who like pass out when they see blood?
No.
Oh.
Probably, yeah. When it's on my dick, I pass out.
People really
That must be some
withdraw when I
terrible
say
sex then if your mind is on that and not
Well, you
something
see your
else.
bloody dick, and then the cops find you, and they go, something bad happened here. There must have been a crime.
Oh, I didn't clarify. It wasn't from the period.
Yeah.
Somebody at the Risk storytelling shows told a story about like getting their penis cut on the birth control copper.
No.
And then when they like turned on the lights
from an IUD.
Yeah.
So it was
It
like
shapes.
extra metally.
Yeah, it
Blood
was-
and copper? Damn.
Yeah, it
that's
was
the
like a
most metally
first
vagina
date.
I've ever fucking heard of.
That's why me and my wife, we just stick to good old-fashioned pulling out. And today's episode is actually sponsored by Pulling Out. The folks at pullingout.com have a plan and some reading material for you. It's a subscription service, $14.99 a month, and you learn how to pull out.
Yeah, there are apps that are like that you don't take anything, it just tracks your cycle, and then it's like, yo, he can nut in you now. It just tells you when you can get nutted in.
It like
has a
talks to you
very-
cool and like snaps its fingers and points.
Yeah,
has a
that's
funny
exactly
name
how it
to
lets
it.
you know.
Yeah. Well, as you guys can hear, we got a real full house today. Let me just go around the room and introduce everybody. First of all, we got you know her, you love her, my neighbor. If you it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. If you rearrange the letters in your name, you get baby.
Yeah. I get a lot of autocorrects to baby.
You
Oh,
do?
actually, or maybe I'm just aloof to being hit on.
Nice. And then we got my other neighbor
You're
keeping it in the neighborhood. Our friend, we have millennial comedian Blair Dawson
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Millennial comedian, nice.
You
Are
are
you?
as well.
I'm a
you
neighbor,
are as
you're-
well.
yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Me and
yeah.
you were in the same generation.
We are.
You're like a fresh-faced kid, and
I'm not wearing makeup, so
How old are you?
no, but you're like a
26.
you're like a
Oh,
young
okay.
26-year-old fresh-faced kid.
Thanks.
I'm like a bloated. I look like a high school principal.
You feel insecure.
Yeah.
You're the assistant principal
I'm the
that's like
assistant
friends with all the
principal.
bad kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I call him homeboy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
too friendly.
You
I'm
understand
a
that they
little
have
too
a hard
aggressive.
home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has our cell phone numbers and he texts.
I have your numbers.
He buys weed from one of us.
Yeah. I'm just like, all right. Yeah, I'm closer with the bad kids, and
For
then
sure.
and then the good kids are like, hey, how come he doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember feeling that way in school.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you
Maybe I
talk
should be bad
about
for
your
attention.
hot classmates with the teenagers. You know, because that happened. My English teacher, he would always refer to one of my classmates because she had large breasts. He would be like, "Oh, her bookshelves," and would like laugh with our.
Whoa.
Jealous. Was he hot?
No, but he did touch my hair and told me I reminded him of his ex-girlfriend.
No!
Remind him of his
Damn.
dead
What
wife.
grade is this? Oh,
My
Every
junior year.
grade.
Oh.
Believe women. I was jealous. There was my I
Blair,
had
when
a
you're
hot-
around, it's like my dead wife is here. You know, it's funny in high school. You just. I remember being so horny in high school,
Yeah.
but teachers are so horny too. Just
They
because
are.
you're around teenage girls.
I think
They
one of my
constantly make comments on
said
your outfits. Like, please don't wear that. Yeah.
Whoa, he's
Whoa.
like, no, for your sake, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's distracting.
Damn.
Because I had a teacher, and this was a teacher that like everybody liked. He was really funny, English teacher.
They're always that
Never
guy.
trust
Continue.
him.
Right.
Uh-oh.
No, and he was like funny, and he directed the school play. But
Uh-huh.
looking back on it, well, whatever. But anyway, but you know what? He was a teacher where like we were friends, and then we kind of like stopped being friends. You know,
You didn't fuck him.
He was like the Colin Jost of teachers. He doesn't fuck with me anymore. But there was some rap song that came out in like 2003, and the lyrics were like, Carolina, take your shirt off, spin it around your head like a helicopter. And he would like, there was a girl named Carolina that would sit in the front row, and he would sing the song
to her.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
bet she was hot.
Serenade her.
She was pretty hot. She was Polish, and
There we go.
But she was one of those Polish people that ruined her skin after high school with heavy drinking. Hey, are
There we
you
go.
here now? Yeah. All right. So why don't me and you we can share a mic?
Okay.
Let's give. No. Yeah, no, we want him here instead of you.
yeah.
We're not going to not have you on the show because so me and you will share a mic. Because today's episode is all about, Blair and I were having a little conversation the other night at the creek.
Of course, yeah.
And she was like, we were talking about comedy. And you, and
I just
she
want to
was
be
like,
fair. I just like, I'm very sensitive about offending people, but I also want to be true to myself.
Right.
And,
because you'd be lying, and that's rude.
Good choice.
You know?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
Wait, is it already opened? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because he ate it.
Nice.
No, it was a discount. What's that? Go between Abby and Blair.
I'm sorry I took your spot.
No, you're good.
get in here.
So,
Damn.
Loose deli meats are being shared.
I brought olives too.
Oh, I want some olives. Do they have pits though?
all right, we can't have a little mystery here, okay? You don't have to let people know that I'm eating loose deli meat.
Well, they don't know what kind of olives they are.
Well, I just want to paint a picture of the round table. There's blueberries. It's balanced.
So it was funny because you're like a pretty typical, millennial comedian. I mean, I would say, you're nice, but you were like, I wish my comedy was more edgy. So now we have the king.
Say the word
we have the king of
edgy.
edgy comedy. We got Nick Mullen in the house.
You just got lines and they're fun to play. Well, you want to play with the lines. Is that what it is?
Well, okay. I just I'm still trying to suss it out. What exactly I'm trying to do. I guess all my favorite jokes that I tell are the ones that make people feel uncomfortable.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you like Mad TV growing up or SNL more?
I watched it all. So I enjoyed it all.
Okay.
So I which is like a political answer, but like it's genuinely I just consumed it all. I watched my brother was really into comedy, so we would watch like Seinfeld, but we would also watch like a lot of dumb broy comedies as well.
Like what's a dumb broy comedy?
Like Hollywood 5 for 25 bin dumb movies or what?
Like Jay, Silent Bob, like Dogma, a lot of like.
Little Nicky. Do you guys
I
remember
loved Little Nicky?
Little Nicky was the. I love that. Yeah.
I find like all the Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
I always hated Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
Really?
all of the movies.
Yeah, I had to pretend to like Adam Sandler. It sucked. Everyone would be like Billy Madison. I'd be like, totally.
Not even Billy Madison?
I didn't. Yeah, not even Billy Madison. I mean, it's better than the other
Happy
ones, but
Gilmore?
No, they hated it.
I rewatch it and I hate a lot of it.
Really?
Yeah, just because I hate the female characters, and then I'm mad because I hate the female
I
characters.
saw
and it's-
Waterboy in theaters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
And there
about
were
Waterboy.
kids from school there, and I was like, awesome. I hated it.
And you just didn't like.
I
Yeah.
didn't like Adam Sandler. It wasn't funny.
Interesting. Dude, Where's My Car came out when I was in
Yes.
middle school, and everybody saw that and
dumb.
quoted it. Yeah, the next weekend, and I had to sort of like pretend that
God.
was cool.
Shibby. Shibby, remember that? People that movie invented shibby as they said. They would go shibby. That was like their fucking dumb expression between each other, and then people in school would be like shibby, and it's like, no, you saw the movie. Stop saying that.
Yeah. They think Ashton Kutcher killed a woman.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I think.
believe
No,
it.
he did not.
Well, there was some trial that happened. He had to testify. Matt, you want to pull that up? He had to testify. Some woman was
I would
murdered
be
in
so
in like
bummed.
2001. He was supposed to go on a date with her, and I think she was murdered by this guy who like called himself like the L.A.
Assassin.
Yeah,
or
no, he
something?
was like the Hollywood
Headhunter.
hillsides. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And
Damn.
but Ashton Kutcher was supposed to go on a date with her that night, and he testified. But Deb's sister was like, if you read the testimony, Ashton Kutcher did it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be this good guy who like saves children from being like raped in other countries or something, right?
Does he?
There was like he's like part of some like he like gave himself like a little task force like outfit too, and like goes with people. That's what I feel like I read something about that.
He always seemed like a guy who like accomplished way too much.
Yeah.
He learned Hebrew and he changed his faith. What's it called when you
Convert?
Jewish.
Yeah, he converted to Judaism.
Who wouldn't?
Which is bizarre.
Yeah. Man on trial in the slaying of Ashton Kutcher's date. Well, anyway, we'll get back to
Scientology is
that.
for the losers. Judaism is for the winners.
Exactly.
We'll get back to that a little later. But me and Blair were talking, and she was like, "Oh, I wish my comedy was like more unfiltered." right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to censor myself, but then I get sensitive if other people get upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because that is one of the hard parts. Like, sometimes you get to just create comedy in your house and you get to make whatever you want. You don't have to worry
Right.
about how people receive it. But with stand-up's a little different because there's people there and you have to... Did you ever have a problem with that?
What?
Did you ever have a hard time, like, knowing that there were people in the audience whose feelings you might be hurting?
Never.
Never even
No.
crossed your mind? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because when I started comedy too, I mean, you've probably been doing it the same amount of time. It's like it was just a completely different mentality. It was like, fuck you if you're offended.
Yeah.
You know, people would say that nobody would be offended.
Yeah.
It'd be like 9 white guys at an open mic, and there'd be no audience. And afterwards, it'd be like, and anybody that's offended can fuck off.
Suck my dick.
Everybody
Yeah.
knew not to admit that they were offended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
Well,
there was
actually-
nobody to be offended. It was just us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw a guy get offended one time because do you know that lady Upa? She's this Russian woman who's like she's been around for a long time. She had a bit where she would go, you know this how there's no Mrs. God, and then when you read the Bible, it's all me, pray to me, love me, and she's like, so God is gay, everyone. That was her bit. God is gay, and then
Yeah.
some black guy went up after her and he was like, man, y'all on some crazy shit, huh? God is gay? Like, I think he was legitimately offended that she
Well, to a
called
black
God
guy, that's
gay.
the worst thing you can call God.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know. So you never had an issue with people.
Oh no,
You
I
never
mean,
worried
like,
about
yeah,
how people felt?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't worry about it. But
Mhm. Do you ever worry about it?
I was never like, you know, like my material is pretty tame.
Mhm.
You know, I wasn't like trying to offend people ever.
Yeah.
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 I mean, the jokes that I got in the most trouble for ever, I had a thing like making fun of like police dogs dying, and like that would rub people the wrong way sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but like, yeah, that was it really.
Yeah.
I used to do a thing about prison rape that, you know, people would have a problem with.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't like, you know, like black people should be in jail. You know, like,
Right.
I wasn't,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. It's never the guys that feel that way that are worried about offending anybody or
Yeah.
crossing any lines.
Well, I guess I'm just now getting to a point where I'm actually look at the person who's offended, whereas before I'm like, oh, I hurt your feelings, and now I'm like, well, I don't respect you.
Right, right,
So
right.
I guess I'm just now finding self-esteem.
Oh, it comes
Yeah.
and goes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like finding $20 in your pocket. You're like, oh, I got some self-esteem today.
Exactly.
All right, here we go.
like, oh, I trust what I'm saying. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do either of you guys have any bits that you're sort of maybe like hesitant about doing, or you
Yeah.
don't?
Sure.
There's certain nights you don't do them. What are those?
Oh, God. I'm not going to say
lot
a
of
bit.
stuff.
Yeah. All right.
But
what are they about?
I just did a festival in Raleigh, and they hated that I talked about my body and discharge.
Ooh.
They were really upset.
I've
Who
gotten a
did?
lot
the,
of.
the fucking landed gentry of Raleigh.
I
I do declare, I
I've
don't
had
know if
people
I can tolerate such talk from a lady.
I've had people come up to me afterwards and be like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're not one of those female comics who does period jokes like unsolicited." And it's like, I know I kind of want to do one.
disgusting. I gotta hear some girl talking about bleeding while I'm trying to eat nachos. I'm trying to eat $26 nachos.
And then I transitioned into a rape joke, and everybody loved it.
Exactly. I was just thinking that same thing, and I was like, "Do I want to say?" Oh yeah, I won't flinch at a rape joke, but blood. Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like some people, that's like a thing though. Some people like blood in particular. I don't know if it's that it's like a woman's body or if it's like the thought of blood. Like some people like.
I think it's the same way that people get grossed out by the sound of chewing. Like people are
Yeah.
very sensitive to certain stimuli.
Right.
It's like fluids.
Is that a dig at me because I'm sucking on olive?
No, do it louder.
No, I think it works.
get
for-
ASMR
I think it
tingles.
works.
I
for
was
the
gonna
show.
say,
I think
yeah.
it's perfect.
I love it.
Yeah. So what do you like? What are some of your goals with comedy? What do you wish that you could do more of? Like.
Did you
said that
start
you
in New York,
wished-
and how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it for 3 years, and I started here. My
Okay.
first open mics were in Bangkok, and because I was just teaching English. But
That's where you learn not to offend people.
no, yeah,
I would spin kick your fucking head off.
I would mimic.
Just some woman with a dick beating the shit out of you. You told a period joke.
I can't have one.
No.
Yeah.
Who's pissed?
Yeah. With my period. Why I can't get a period? How dare you?
So I would mimic my students, and they would love that. And then I came back here, and I started.
You would mimic your
stand-up.
students in Thailand?
Yeah, and they loved it.
Damn, I
because
could be a
there's
teacher. I'm trying to teach.
What do they sound like?
Oh, you ain't got your homework, huh? You ain't got your homework. No, I'm inspiring them. You don't know. Look, I'm helping them learn. But they think it's funny. I think it's funny.
You're wearing blackface. Like,
They also are. I mean, naturally, but I'm just trying to relate to them. I don't know. I'm from a different time. I'm from the 80s.
so you imitated your students.
Yeah.
So wait, do you think you're worried more about like family and friends hearing what you're saying and them being offended, and it's just crossing over into your stand-up?
No, I wouldn't care if my family.
You don't care about that. It's specifically people you see in the audience, and you say something, and you see their face
I
go
see them
sad, and you're
recoiling,
like, "Oh no!"
And I'm like,
Wait,
you-
when?
It's when I'm performing and I
Yeah.
see people recoiling, or it's like I guess I'm
recoiling.
also I guess I'm sensitive to like, oh, what are my blind spots, or just like not knowing that I'm offending someone.
Are you
which
just
is,
regular
like,
white? What's your deal?
What's my deal? I'm Jewish.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. So,
so
you get a
it's
little
like-
bit of a.
People, yeah, I get a lot of like, what are you?
You're like Sephardic.
No, actually,
No, are you-
Russian Jewish.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because it does kind of feel like comedy is a lot of intellectuals telling people how to do it, and I think Pol Pot had the right idea when he had them all killed.
Yeah, comedy used to be like the dumbest people in the world. Yeah,
Right.
Should be dumb.
because you could go to college or do comedy. Now people are trying to do both, and it's like, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
mistake.
yeah. But it's I don't know. It's just a thing where it's like I think to do it, you have to understand like fucked up logic, right?
Yeah.
You have to understand how stupid people think.
Well, that's what makes Mark Norman like kind of like a perfect joke writer is that he's like just stupid enough. Like it's like just like a swish from half court. Like he has like the perfect amount of intelligence
Right.
to write jokes,
Right.
but like not actually think critically
Being a comedian's
about
like-
any of the things he's talking about.
Like a police officer, like you can't be too overqualified to be a comic.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, Mark's almost like perfectly set up to be. You know, it'll be like a scientist who could like create the atom bomb, but he wasn't smart enough to be like, but should we be doing it?
He's like, let's drop it on these Japanese
Yeah, it's like,
people
Mark,
now.
that's very funny, but that trans woman killed herself.
He's like, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I just come up with the jokes. I only know how to do as much as I can.
It's impressive getting him to get like a whole audience to laugh at a joke about how he likes skinny women with big tits. It's like, damn, you can really get them.
Yeah.
And that's goals.
Yeah,
You know?
because on Twitter I saw him tweet that, and people were like, "This is not okay."
Yeah.
Really?
Harsh on
Oh,
print.
for sure.
Yeah, because there are plenty of people who do comedy and they're like too smart. They're too smart and
Sure.
too educated, and
Yeah, but well, I'd say a lot of those people are just not funny.
mhm.
You know, they're just
Yeah.
people that like are intelligent that want to do comedy that aren't funny. You know what I mean?
They're witty.
yeah,
No, they're not even witty. I mean, they're not funny. Like they're just not funny people. I mean, they might like have some understanding of how jokes work, but they're not funny people.
Right.
So they can approach it from like some technical understanding of what makes something funny or like a joke, but it's, you know, like you're hanging out with them, you're not like, man, this guy's hilarious. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
right. They can sort of construct something that sounds like a joke, but
Right.
yeah. Do you have any sort of bigoted things that you might believe that you're worried about sharing on stage?
Let the thoughts out,
Yeah,
Blair.
why did
Let
you-
them out.
Be
Why did you
free?
leave Bangkok?
They're like the Titans and Hercules. They're just fucking banging, dude. They want to get out. What do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Well, I was telling Mike that I do think it's easier for oh god, here we go. All right,
Bring it
so
out.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna-
let's do it.
all right,
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I do think it's easier for white men to be feminist in a relationship because of power structures and that people who are minorities, they're generally oppressed, and so in a relationship, a lot
Yeah.
of times minorities will want
It's
to
the same
like,
reason
get
why
one over.
minorities are mean to the people who make their sandwiches.
It's Interesting. White men get to be the most feminist. Has that been your?
She was saying that white men get to be feminist. Let me explain.
They have the most free time?
Let me break down what she said.
A black
Okay,
guy,
thank you so much.
can't be a
Explain it.
feminist in a relationship because then that bitch is gonna,
Leave his ass.
I don't know, yeah, burn all of his shit. I don't know.
Right.
Right? That's the point you're making, right? There's more like cultural pressure on.
Because they don't have anybody
minority
they're
men.
trying to get back at. There's not like a revenge effect in them.
I am literally on the verge of a panic attack.
Dude, I know he asked me about a bit earlier. I'm like, I'm not saying a fucking bit. I am not having people destruct my bit
Sorry.
No.
or deconstruct.
No, but I think I get what you're saying.
I'm very wound up.
You wound up.
Yeah.
Because I don't
This
know.
I'm,
This is how like I
Yeah.
felt every time I had to do red eye. I'm like, our guests tonight are fucking Gavin McInnes and Adolf Hitler. I'm like, oh great. This is what good for my comedy career.
I know. I saw Joe Mackey on Greg Gutfeld's show, and I was like, this poor guy.
And then it just makes you look like an asshole. And
I know.
it's like, I have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand. It doesn't even pay money.
Yeah.
I just want to ride in a car with leather seats.
Right.
Do you guys ever see Man Seeking Woman?
I saw,
No.
was
Yes.
it a TV show?
It's
Yes.
so
Movie?
fucking good. I don't really have much to say
it's
about
good?
it, but it's a good rec.
I
So if
remember
you
watching-
have something to watch, watch that. It's on
I remember
FX.
watching the previews, and I was like, this is stupid.
Oh, I like it. It's got Eric Andre and that Jay Brook
It's
guy.
funny.
But there's like
It's funny,
one
yeah.
of the first episodes. I don't know if it's first or second, but they have Hitler in it. So it's like one of those. It's like reality, but then there's like
Yeah.
different shit from it. So his ex is dating
there's
Hitler.
like a lot of absurdist shit.
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it is funny.
Yeah.
And it's despite like that I'm like totally not in the market for that kind of comedy.
Right.
Which is like, oh, my girls don't like me.
Yeah. Rick and Morty.
Michael Cera, Jay Baruchel or whatever.
Yeah, I
his name-
never related to any of that shit.
It sucks, dude. It's fucking
Right, right.
garbage.
It's also not really real.
It's not. Those guys don't fucking exist.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
guys are like, girls don't like me, so no, I'm racist.
Yeah.
It's like, never,
No,
I
those
guess I'll-
guys exist.
No.
No, the racist guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the fucking like, oh well, I'll just continue being a loser. Like
Right.
that- yeah, people
Yeah.
get angry.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
it's not that hard to have sex with a woman, to find a woman who will have sex with you.
I find it to be pretty difficult. It's disgusting. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
We want to talk about social pressure.
Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't mean to give you a panic attack.
Oh no, not at all.
I was just saying that, you should work on letting out the fucked
Letting
up
it
thoughts
out.
in your head.
I
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
I
Because
should
Like,
do
for
then
more
as a
example-
comic, you get to
voices.
say just kidding.
Because look,
Yeah.
I'll share one of mine, I'll go
Please.
first. I don't
Yeah.
really care for Indian people that much.
Go for
They're
it.
very rude when you move their shit.
Uh-huh.
Their fucking parents watch you.
It's
Yeah.
he who makes a beast out of himself. It gets rid of the pain of being a man. You know who said that?
Yeah.
The band
Ooh.
Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh my god.
And that's kind of what you have to lean into
Hell yeah.
in the world of comedy.
Yeah.
I feel like they played like Oyster Bake in San Antonio or something like that.
What's oyster bake?
It's everybody should know about Oyster Bake.
I don't know
Did you
what
guys
it
have
is.
like
We take raw oysters and make them worse.
yeah, pretty much. It's like
Oh, breadcrumbs
It's like-
on top of oysters.
sometimes
You know
they
what?
had different
I
kinds.
love
It was like all
Clams
kinds
Casino.
of oysters.
What is that?
I don't know. It's baked clams, but then they put like cheese
Breadcrumbs.
and
Yeah.
breadcrumbs and onions, green
Put
onions
dairy
on top.
and fish together.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm excited for summertime snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had crab legs a few nights
I know.
ago. That was
God, those
fun.
are so good. I love crab legs.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go down to Maryland and spend the day eating.
Nice.
Go out to the shore. Maybe go out to Long Island.
Yeah.
There's got to be
Yeah.
good seafood in Long Island.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Towards we go to Montauk and
yeah.
in our tracksuits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll force Tim to
and
take me to
everybody.
Long Island for seafood.
Yeah. why
Not force, just ask.
Yeah.
Tim would love to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, you can
Where
have.
were we?
You're gonna move to a place with a backyard. You can have like a boil or something.
Yeah,
Are
possibly.
you
some-
moving to Long Island?
No, Deb wants to move to Bushwick.
Should we all move
Oh,
to Long
Bushwick.
Island?
It's in Bushwick.
We could probably make that work, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's sort of the end of the road.
Start a
It's
scene there.
Just turning into a Long Island guy.
Yeah.
Just go to Governor's.
Yeah.
I haven't been. Have you been?
No, I haven't.
I've heard tell of Governor's, but I haven't been myself.
Blair, you should do some mics and shows out there because there's guys like I started comedy in Jersey
love
and it's
me.
it's a whole scene of people who like refuse to come to New York
Yeah.
to do
Oh,
comedy.
you know, I used to be pretty friendly with you know Joe DeVito, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Joe DeVito is like a Long Island guy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he comes in and does spots sometimes, but it's like he just won't. I guess doesn't understand the appeal of moving to the city. I mean, I guess he has a career out of Long Island.
And
But
it's not that far of a drive, is it?
no, but I mean, he is like a Long Island comic. You know, I mean, if you're out there and you're just doing Governors and working the road, I mean, it's different. I mean, there's people that live in Long Island that come into the city to be, you know, I mean, like Bobby lives in either Rockland County or
Westchester,
Westchester,
Paul
whatever the
Verzi,
fuck it
too.
is. Yeah, I mean, Rich and Bonnie live in like basically
New Jersey.
Philly. Yeah, they
Yeah.
live down like Princeton or something.
Well, you should go to Governor's and do mics out there because that's where you can try out your fucked up thoughts. Because
Yeah.
no one will judge you out there unless they're against men and their period jokes.
Well, speaking of
If you're
fucked up
doing like
thoughts-
it depends on what's offensive to you. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like.
Well, it's also I go to those spaces and I'm not laughing. You know, it's like I want to be around people that I think are funny. You know, I started in Manhattan, Mike, so it's like, oh, I hear all that, and you know, you're laughing at all of my fucked up jokes, but also I don't think any of you are funny.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What are some of your fucked up thoughts?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have some jokes about them. Come watch me do stand up. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
The premises.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, I'm not going to just say like a fucked up thought without it like having like it being funny right now. You know what I mean? I'm not going to just say.
I said mine.
What was yours?
So I'm
Oh,
the
you don't like
only
Indian
one-
people that
Yeah, I'm
much?
the only one who's going to share.
Yeah, but I also don't believe
I don't know.
that. I feel
Hispanic
like
women
you're-
were mean to me
Yeah.
growing up. I don't know. Hispanic women are mean. That's a thought I have.
Mine is that
Yeah.
I think Indian people are fine.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with Indian people.
God,
That's my fucked up thought.
shit. They clip this. It's like Mullen versus Racine.
They're a little bit horny, but that's because they're new to dating. They had arranged marriage until 7 years ago, so
Yeah.
they're learning horny.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we were talking about like with Kevin Hart, how he had all these homophobic jokes, and I was like, yeah, but he's like a small guy, like. Maybe gay guys bullied him. Like sometimes the
They
people
probably
write
did.
people write jokes about people who like piss them off or like hurt their feelings. You
Yeah,
know what I
apparently
mean? It's
there are
like,
a lot of gays in the Crips.
So they
so-
brought it on
Is
themselves.
that true?
Yeah, it is.
Not the Bloods, though.
No.
Yeah, I knew it.
Well, you want one
most,
of the one drop in there, it'll ruin
The
the,
most
whole.
vicious,
It's kind of how the disease.
the most vicious people are closeted queers.
You think?
Yeah,
Yeah. And open queers.
definitely. Cancel culture. It comes
Yes.
from queer culture.
yes.
They don't
Yeah.
give a shit.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wonder where that comes from.
Self-hatred.
It doesn't everything.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, with that Tony Stark's like I don't know, his power fucking what is that in his chest? It's just self-hatred. That's all that is. That's what's powering things. It's nuclear.
Iron
Was
Man's
he the
just
one
gay.
who got mouth
yeah.
cancer from?
Eating
Michael
pussy.
Douglas.
Yeah.
Michael
That was
Douglas.
Michael
Oh,
Douglas,
so
yeah.
close.
Yeah.
They look the same in my head.
Oh, really?
Iron Man and Michael Douglas.
Disagree.
I always
like the
confuse
same.
those two. The fictional character Iron Man, who's a man made out of metal,
Yeah.
and actor Michael Douglas, who got pussy mouth cancer.
Right.
Thought it was
Similar
Iron Man.
story.
Yeah, I thought.
Got pussy
I thought you were
cancer.
talking about Iron. I thought you were talking about Michael Douglas. Wait, who was in Basic Instinct? Was that Iron Man? And
Guys, I don't know if I can
Rich
fight
actors.
Thanos today. My
Yeah.
mouth cancer's acting up. I gotta go through chemo.
Yeah. Is Iron Man in Basic Instinct or Fatal Attraction? I always confuse the two. One of them's Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Charlie Sheen, or not Charlie Sheen, fucking, who played Iron Man? Wow. Robert Downey Jr.
Jr.
He seems like the light version of Charlie Sheen. You know what I mean? He didn't quite go as far to get as fucked up, but they're both kind of like, they both had like their issues or whatever.
Well,
but
he went
didn't-
further
It's their
with
vibe.
drugs, but Charlie Sheen is like a rapist.
Yeah.
Right.
Charlie Sheen's like a bad person.
Well, how much of it is drugs for both of them, and how much is it just like they were naturally
No,
fucked
Michael
up?
Robert
Douglas is
Downey
a
Jr.
good
is
guy.
just Robert Downey Jr. is probably driven to do drugs by how much of a shitty fucking place Los Angeles is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you make that much money,
Yeah, true.
you must be so bored.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like people have told me the conspiracy that Selena Gomez is a heroin addict.
That's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's probably just true.
Yeah. So she has, quote, lupus, but she had like an overdose. And it ended up in the hospital because of a drug overdose.
Oh.
That PR person got fired if you're saying that to me. She's going to get a new person.
And then she died, and they replaced her with Paul McCartney. And he's just dressing up like a 20-year-old girl, doing all her songs.
Honestly,
Blair,
cool.
who's somebody that you think who's someone that does the type of comedy that you want to do well?
Okay. Let's see. I really like Chelsea Peretti, but she's not mean.
She's not mean.
No.
Because they did a bit on Come
Because you want something like me. You want to be a little mean.
I am mean.
Yeah.
I just
You want to be on stage mean, though.
Yeah. I just want to not feel bad for
Right.
being mean.
Yeah.
Do you
I
drink?
guess a sociopath. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I'm jealous of sociopaths, malignant narcissists, because there are so many malignant narcissists in comedy that like get ahead so fast, and I'm like, man, I wish I could just like lie and not feel anything.
How many different drugs have you tried?
Almost all of them, except for heroin and meth.
Yeah. Does the
Really?
Yeah.
That's about
Okay.
right.
Well, that's about
yeah.
That's all, okay.
Meth. Fuck that. Needles.
Yeah. It
No,
would be
thank
fun.
you.
Pills.
Yeah. Those are actually kind of my two that I don't
for
think
a
I'd
good
fuck with.
time. Shrooms have been great for me. I like shrooms.
I've had up and down with those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
Sometimes
they
it's great. Sometimes it's pretty awful.
they help with like framing.
Just get drunk and be a bad person.
I should do that. I
Just
should
get
be
drunk.
an alcoholic. But also I just like can't tolerate a hangover. You know, I'm weak. I just can't do it. I don't want to.
Get a friend that's an EMT that can give you those IVs. My little brother's like going to he's an EMT right now.
Yeah.
He's always like, yeah, you know, I can just get one of those. You get an IV, gets rid of the hangovers, and you get to be a bad person at night, and if you have a great morning.
Yeah,
That's
just
a good
get on
point.
dialysis.
For sure.
Just willingly put yourself on dialysis. Yeah.
You know what's funny is like there were a lot of comics that like would have brain injuries and they would show up and they'd be like, I was at the store. And
Damn.
everybody would be like,
Chuck Walken's like smoked weed too hard and fell over and cracked his skull open.
Whoa.
He was in a coma for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And I had no idea.
Yeah.
And like Trey Gallion was like, dude, I saw Chuck. He's doing so much better. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you know, his accident. I'm like, no, I don't. What do you mean his accident? He's like, look. And he shows me a video. And it's Chuck like getting out of the coma in the hospital, trying to play a harmonica. And he's like, boo, and it falls on the floor. I'm like, what the fuck happened? He's like, I mean, you should have seen him before.
Jesus.
But yeah, then he's a cartoonist.
Uh-huh.
So he got back on Instagram and he's like, you know, you can see where his cartoons are like pre-injury and then just like scrawlings on a napkin. And they've gotten better. I mean, he has regained a lot of function, but those those first couple were like, this is
pretty bad.
so funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also funny too because like there are people not quite to that point of like brain damage or anything, but like that just like are off and they'll do like Mitch Hedberg jokes and like do blue jokes and people get mad at them and it's like they're not taking spots from you. They're just a person who's not connected with reality. You know,
what?
it's like
See,
it's not worth getting mad that they're doing a Mitch Hedberg joke. Let the people.
When I started, like that was like everybody was real mad about joke theft or being hacked.
Yes,
it's like now I
yes.
could give a shit less if somebody steals joke. Like I don't care. But when I was new, it's like everyone was like that guy fucking. You know, this guy steals jokes. Fuck that. The only thing that matters is doing your own material. You know, all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And I do think not that there's like no point to
You're
it,
a San Antonio comic.
that like a lot of like the socially conscious stuff that happens in the scene that feels more I don't know, like socially expedient is sort of like the equivalent of that now, you know, where there's like an excessive amount of call out stuff that happens. I'd say like that Milo Creek thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I just think that's so unfunny, and that's like what I don't want to be. You know, I feel like a lot of people who are political on social media, it's like you expressing a mental illness. It's not funny.
Yeah.
Oh, Milo or Milo or whatever. Is that who you're talking about?
Well, some of the call out stuff and like you know, not to
the
just
people
use
calling
the
him
term,
out.
term virtue signaling or whatever,
Right.
but some of that is like it falls in play, like it gives some
Because you do get a lot of attention.
you get a lot of attention, but it like grants you some position of authority that you don't like have as like kind of a shitty comic. You know, and like that was like a sort of, you know, 10, 15 years ago or whatever. People are like, oh, fuck joke theft or whatever. It's like, what do you care? Why do you give a shit about Carlos Mencia? How does that affect you in any way?
Well, it is disheartening to hear that there's like people going around that are already established and they're hearing like, because what somebody, I don't know if it was Carlos or somebody else was saying, they would go in and hear like a good premise or a bit, but they just couldn't do it well. And they're like, well, I can do the joke well. And it's like, there is some merit to that, but it's like really disheartening to hear that people with positions of power can just go do that. And like, you're working really hard, but here's the thing. I do agree for the most part.
I understand the joke theft is wrong, obviously.
But yeah, ultimately either people are going to like your shit or you won't, like, or they won't. So it's like it's like you're writing enough and doing well enough to where you get to a point where you become around those people that they can't take from you anymore, or it'd be more obvious, or you don't.
Well, I think the like why you stop caring about things like that is because if you do comedy long enough, you realize that things like joke theft are not the impedance. I mean, it's like
exactly.
And neither is for a lot of people. I mean, your talent or anything. I mean, it's like just like how long you can afford to stay in and being in the right place at the right time. And it's like, you know, I mean,
and if you find your demographic or whatever.
It's you know. Yeah, just a shitty thing to pursue in general.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just stop caring about that stuff. To the same degree, you're like, oh, there's a fascist at my open mic. And it's like, if you've been doing comedy 13 years, I can't imagine how you could possibly care about that.
Well, it's also like somebody stole one of your jokes, like one joke. It's like, shouldn't you have some more jokes? Are you fine? Like...
But I guess like before the internet, people could get famous stealing jokes. Like, didn't Robin Williams do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, he didn't steal jokes. Yeah. He would like he would go up and just like riff or whatever, and then do shit that he heard somewhere else. And that's the other thing too. Is like, I remember there was a lot of anger at joke theft as if it was always this conscious thing. And then it's like I've known people that I've been friends with that I think are very creative, like intelligent people, who have just outright stolen things, at, like literally word for word, like dead to rights. You know, here's where you heard it, and then the recognition.
Is talking.
Have you ever done that and it get caught? You're like, oh fuck, it's like the worst feeling in the world. I had an idea for a tweet and I was like, I asked multiple people, I'm like, have you heard this? Have you heard this? Have you heard this? And everybody's like, no, I haven't heard anything like that. And I tweeted and then I got a text from somebody I knew and I was like, okay, well, if I ever have that feeling again now, I never will tweet it, you know?
Yeah, you got to be conscious of that. I mean, and then, you know, there's like shit on like, you know, after doing a podcast for 3 years, there's always shit that comes up and somebody's like, oh, this is from that. And it's like, okay, well, I guess,
oh, something got cut out.
That's happened to me where it's like, I made a tweet and then someone who liked the tweet 2 months later retweeted the same thing and it like went viral and I'm like, but also he just has a better account. So part of me is just kind of like, well, I'll just keep.
Because what is it? It's one tweet, a bunch, you know, like a bunch of tweets. It's like,
initially it was annoying, but I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. If you do comedy at the open mic level for a very long time, you see the same jokes like year after year.
Oh my
after
god!
Year.
Yeah.
It's like that. There's not too many like original.
There's only so many ideas. Really.
There really is. I mean, it's like you know, anything that happens, you see like a million people with the same exact fucking joke about it. To the extent that it's like even guys like, you know, like I don't know, this like let's say something big and funny like the Harambe or Subway Jared or like, you know, any number of things happens. You can look on Twitter and find basically the premises that you'll go see like Bill Burr do that night or like fucking Louis. I mean, it's like there's really only so many ways to approach something. Yeah. And with social media, it just gets like beaten to death right away.
Yeah, I was hosting at Caroline's one time and I brought up Earthquake and it was right when the Subway Jared thing happened. He was like, "Man, that motherfucker gonna get a foot long in jail." And it's like that was on the cover of the New York Post.
that is comedic genius Earthquake. That is comedy legend Earthquake, one of the sharpest minds.
Right.
Dude, Ari Spears, because I was in Omaha and there's like a comedy competition for amateurs, and Ari Spears was headlining that weekend, and this was on a Thursday, and he came in early, and so he went in the middle of the competition. So one of the people who had to compete had to follow the headliner that weekend, who was doing nothing but hacky stuff that was just crushing so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw a picture of him recently.
Was he there? And he was like, "I'm sick of this shit. Put me up now."
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. He was like super rude and super. His like opener was like nice or whatever. But yeah, he's like a huge. I mean, everybody knows he's like a huge misogynist. Yeah. He always gets a white guy to open for him so he can make fun of him.
I mean, he booked this guy Jonathan Pace to open for him. He's like this comic from Austin who's like a funny guy, but like a computer programmer during the day or whatever. And they booked him, and he had like his plane tickets bought or whatever. It was like I think the Portland Helium or something. And then somebody calls him up. They're like, "Hey, you ain't black, are you? And he's like, "No." And he's like, "Good, because you're not allowed to be black and open for Aries Spears." Like just telling him on the phone the reason behind it. And it's like just find it, Google his name,
right. It was actually bought
announcing,
the ticket.
that you're racist.
Yeah.
Well, he relies on that for
Yeah.
Yeah, he's literally been told to his face, like, the reason why you're not successful is because you're a shitty person.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, he's still out there, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know how much he's making, but people are still putting him up.
He was great on Mad TV.
He was great on Mad TV.
Yeah. What can he do?
Very funny.
One of the best sketch shows that's ever existed.
Yeah. And there's a lot of good people who are not funny. So who would you rather be, an Aries Spears or a,
Yeah.
or we know who I'm talking about, folks.
Do we?
What else happened this week, Mike?
Well, you guys want to get into our dating segment, our relationship segment?
No.
I'm gonna.
What happened? Who are you talking about?
I'm just saying, everybody who presents themselves being really into like social justice and stuff, and they're usually not that funny. But everybody,
That
it
doesn't mean
seems
that
like
they're good
everybody.
people.
No, but everybody's presenting themselves and trying to say the right thing, you know. And somebody had a tweet the other day about how like they were like. I think parking meter maids get too much shit because I think most tickets are probably deserved and everyone's just mean to them. And it was just a very. And I was like, you should be in prison for this tweet.
You don't see them.
No, yeah.
To mean to them in what sense? That they have to deal with the fact that like people are probably pretty upset when they see the bullshit ticket I left on their car.
Yeah. They're
What a
probably
fucking
pretty upset at them
dumbass
when they
take.
continue to write it up, even though I'm fucking here.
Yeah.
No, then the first response to it was Mike Birbiglia being like, "This is very kind," because I think people just get so rich they forget what like human decency actually
Dude,
is.
absolutely.
I hate him.
Yeah.
I hate him.
He's bad.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy.
But he has a good
people
career.
like that movie, and I didn't understand why because I watched it and I was like, who the fuck is going to watch this?
And who's it for?
It's for It's for like a movie about like an improv group, and like one of them is trying to.
I worked on that movie in the costume
Did you?
department. Yeah.
You should buy a bunch of like 3XL fucking like ironic shirts from
All
Target.
of the male. I've worked on a bunch of comedies in the costume department, and no one's more insecure about their body than the male comic.
Yeah.
They have everything altered like an
Excuse me,
inch.
Have you seen our bodies?
Do you have this in fat-titted, narrow-shouldered gentlemen? No, I'm looking for something for a man with very large breasts but very narrow shoulders.
Yeah. I know. Deb took a video of me the other day. I was like, "How is my back like pretty full, and then I just have no ass?"
Yeah.
It's like, anyway.
Damn.
I don't know. What are you gonna do?
Just take it, get some surgery, just take it and inject it. That can't go wrong.
The Opie and Anthony
Would you
subreddit
guys,
is now gone, but there was a guy on there that would.
The subreddit is gone?
The Opie and Anthony subreddit is gone now.
Whoa.
But there was a guy on there that would do these like just slight photoshops of Jim Norton, where they make his forearm smaller and then like kind of like
Enlarge his neck.
enlarge his neck, make his neck a little bit bigger and his forearm smaller, and just like this slight change just makes him look like absolute shit. That you're like, God damn,
Yeah.
God damn, Fucking, what have
That's
you
evil.
done?
Yeah.
What have you done to yourself? But it's like believable.
Because people haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, you haven't seen him in a while. You're like, the fuck.
Would you guys ever get plastic surgery if you could afford it?
I don't think so. It never looks very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what kind of plastic surgery?
Like people get like calf implants or like chin implants.
Yeah.
I did say recently I would get antlers, but the surgery would have to be so that I grow, like it changes my genetics so that I
Yeah.
naturally grow antlers.
For
out
sure.
of
Right,
the
you're
top
not
of my
gluing that shit on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They grow out of my skull. They're covered
Okay.
in velvet during the
Okay.
spring.
Right.
And then in the summer, they're
So when they take the bandages off, there's just two little bumps on your head.
right, and then they grow.
just start
They grow out, and as they grow out, it builds your posterior chain. Your neck gets stronger. Your traps would be fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
You would look so good, and you'd have antlers.
Yeah, Birbiglia was on Opie and Anthony one time, and he was like, Voss was mad at him because they did like the tour, and everybody, you know, the fans were just like yelling and booing, and Birbiglia was out there, and he was like, oh, maybe I should work the room like Voss, and then Voss is like, you don't ever talk about me like that, because he was like,
well, they're all insecure. That's like something that I find annoying, where it's like, oh, you go to a different audience and you get defensive and blame it on that audience. You know,
Right.
it's like, I don't want to go to Long
even
Island.
like a 25-year veteran, it does that.
It's just like, or go to Manhattan and be like, well, it's the Manhattan room. Oh, it's the Brooklyn room. And it's just like, well, you know, they're all an audience.
Yeah. I
don't want to be that way.
Just a room full of Chinese people. Oh, I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
You all hate me because I'm different.
People shit on Berg, but what's nice about like Aaron Berg hosting is like he says such awful stuff that nobody afterwards can be like, oh, you're offended. It's like, no, Berg made them laugh at some real dumb offensive shit, so it wasn't that.
He's like a behind enemy lines paratrooper. Like somebody took out all the machine gun nests. Fucking Berg landed 3 days earlier, and he called them all the N-word.
Right, you don't have to worry.
You from Bed-Stuy or Bangladesh? I can't tell. It's so
Who would
dark
be-
in here.
If it was behind
Quick, somebody
anyone-
smell this guy. Does he smell like a wet dog or a toilet? I'm trying to figure out if he's
Who's in behind
Indian
enemy
or
lines?
What's
The
that?
Owen Wilson.
It's Owen Wilson and
Is it just him by himself for a while?
No,
Would
there's-
it be Aaron Berg in that?
no, he's got like a buddy pilot in that movie. That movie's great.
It is a great movie.
Yeah.
Who was the buddy pilot?
can't
I
remember.
only ever remember Owen.
And it was about Bosnia, right?
I don't remember.
Maybe.
Yeah. It was
There
like
were a
some-
handful of movies like that. I feel like I watched and they get confused in my head.
They made a few movies about Bosnia in like the early 90s.
But Behind Enemy Lines is the only one I can think of. Now I don't even remember if it's Bosnia or just some other like Balkan ultra-nationalist, boogeyman that they came up with or something.
What was the
Yeah.
one with the big Jesus in it? Rio? Or like
Rio has a big Jesus statue.
Yeah.
maybe that's one. I don't know. There was one. He parachuted down on near it or something. I don't know.
Those
Didn't see
Balkan
it.
Wars are interesting though, because it's like you think that you remember them happening, and then you research them, and you're like, I don't know, just people who look exactly alike murdering each
Actually,
other
wait.
for literally no reason. Go ahead.
You said Balto or whatever. My name Balto. Have you talked about how you just watched Balto recently? Because I feel like the people need to hear about
We don't want to
this.
talk about that girl shit.
Yeah, well, I
This is a war
rewatched it with
podcast.
like a 6-year-old boy, and there was like a lot of sexy dogs.
Hell
there was
yes.
like a lot of sexualized animation, which
Who
is
was
like,
the
well, I
6-year-old
get
boy?
it. Oh, just a kid I'm fucking, you know, just like it didn't feel right when I said it, but
didn't.
here we are.
Hey, but you're working
That's
on
just
it.
I'm
one of
working
your-
on
one
it.
of your
Hey, and nothing
twisted
bad
thoughts.
happened.
I know.
Just remember that Avenged Sevenfold quote. Remember Bat Country every
The thing
time.
is, like, I do work
Yeah, Blair,
with
maybe-
kids, and
Yeah.
I do feel like definitely at least one of my coworkers is a pedophile.
Oh, really?
you
Do you
think?
think that?
Yeah.
Do you really think that?
One of them has like a really creepy vibe, and it's like, I wouldn't trust you alone with a child.
Really?
In the room. Yeah.
Have you ever been to New Haven, Connecticut?
No.
Well, I went recently, so there's like one street in New Haven right off the highway that's like Little Italy, but it's just like a tiny little strip that's like kind of like in the middle of nowhere. And I went through the other day, I got a pizza, and then I went into a pastry shop because I was trying to get water, and this guy came in with his kid, and he comes in and he's like, "Ooh, look at all the stuff!" Like he was way too excited to be in a pastry shop, and I just feel like you wouldn't be that excited if it was your kid. And he's like showing her all the pastries, and I was just like,
That's too much.
what's going on here?
Yeah, my aunt dated this guy. He was a firefighter, which sounds cool, but he was just the most annoying. His name was like Ronnie or something, and he was bald. And we went and watched fireworks for 4th of July with all our cousins, and it just the whole time, ooh, and he thought he was being funny. I'm like, I want to punch you in the fucking face.
He was trying to like appeal to you. Or
No,
relate
just
to-
like
relate
he was
to
trying to be
kids?
funny, like same thing. It's like it's just over the top, you know. Like the guy walks into the pastry
He
shop, he's
wasn't
like,
trying to be
"Ooh."
funny. He was really happy to be in that pastry shop.
Maybe
with
he
that-
was
with that
genuinely
little
happy
girl.
about it, but either way, it creeps me out.
I wonder how many pedophiles me and my friends were protected from as a kid by the fact that we were all homophobic. We thought a guy was gay. We'd be like, this guy's gay. This guy's a faggot. Look, he's smiling. He's laughing and paying attention to us.
He just goes home and his pedophile roommate's like,
That's so
Johnny, you got to get back out there,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You can't let these kids stop
Yeah,
you
right.
from.
Yeah.
you
world is
created
just so
pedophiles.
cruel.
I just want to molest a boy, and I can't. They're so mean to me.
Don't talk to anyone who smiles at you.
What's that?
Don't talk to anyone who smiles at you.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Stranger danger.
Well, Blair, maybe you should lean into like being like a millennial comic. You know, you could lean into like saying
Having a
racism
career.
is wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Who even? But really, who? But that's a question I want to ask you. Who from your generation of comics do you think is going to do well or like has a career? What are people doing to like get careers?
Are you talking about
besides,
people that I started with, or are you talking about people who are
that you
already
started
kinda,
with,
like,
or people that you started with that might be successful, or people that you think are going places?
Millennial?
What is it that they're doing?
They just know how to do I don't know, like they're
Social
good with
media.
technology. Yes, like Mecky
Besides
Leaper.
besides
I think
being
of
on-
him.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay, it's not. You're the same generation.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
but there's a difference.
Yeah.
Like Mecky, he had some show come out on Comedy Central, or I think it was, I don't know if it was a web series, but like make fake products and like trick people into buying them. It was like Kleenexes that already had like snot in them, so you like it gets you sick. So it's like instead of getting like a shot, and that's how you like prevent yourself from getting sick. So it's like that kind of stuff. It's like behind the scenes, like consumer relations and everything. Like they're just tied in with the people. I feel like it's like social media and like all that kind of shit. I don't know.
Yeah. You just have
So
to,
are
like-
you like good at Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff?
I think I'm getting
Do you
better
post
at it.
regularly on Instagram?
I think I'm better at Instagram than Twitter, but I'm working on it. But also, I just want to be able to post things and not even think about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm working on right now. It's just not thinking.
Yeah.
Is
my
stand up your
problem.
main focus? Are you going to like try to
Yeah.
travel and stuff?
Well,
Do
this
you
is what
go
I'm
out of
doing.
town?
I do.
Okay.
I'm going to LA in a couple of weeks. I just did the Raleigh.
Yeah.
Comedy festival
Nobody cares
there.
about any of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But let me ask you this: you
LA
want to get
sounds sick, dude. It sounds so sick. That's crazy.
Do you want to get into you want to get into the relationship segment
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
talk
Yeah,
about?
let's do it.
Because I just want to say that I've never fucked a woman who's that much younger than me.
Oh.
I haven't had like lower than like more than 4
Oh,
years.
good
younger
for
than me.
you, Racine.
Yeah, I don't think you probably have either, right? You don't have-
More than 4 years. I think
Yeah.
6 is probably the biggest gap. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like that's not a thing you get to brag about until you're like 43. You're like, oh, I don't fuck girls much younger than me. It's like, yeah, 27-year-olds are hot. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like, you're like fucking like a 46-year-old woman.
Yeah, but have you ever talked to like a 23 or a 24-year-old?
Yeah, plenty.
They're pretty like I don't know. They're pretty stupid.
Not always.
You sometimes feel like you would be taking advantage of them if you I don't know.
Well, sure, but yeah, I mean, like a lot of people are stupid.
What
Yeah.
was your biggest age difference?
Like 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It was weird. I mean, dating or like a relationship. Relationships, like a couple of years. I don't really date older, really. I don't date younger. I've never gone younger.
no.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
my last serious girlfriend was like 7 years older than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do younger. I think I dated one guy in 8th grade once who was like a month younger than me. And I think that's the only person I've ever dated that was younger than me.
But I was listening to some podcasts and they were talking about that Moby thing and they were like, Natalie Portman and Moby and they were like, that's just like a normal relationship usually.
What do you mean?
What do you
I thought she was
They were like-
18.
She was like she was 18.
Yeah, someone told me that she was 18.
Oh, and he was like 36.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is a little different.
Oh, yeah. All right.
And yeah, he thinks
Yeah,
that
you
he just
changed
probably
my
hit on her
mind.
and she didn't tell him to fuck off. And he was like, that's dating.
Yeah.
changed my mind.
I just thought it was
I
like
don't
weird
give a
that
shit
he
at
like
all.
put it in
You don't give a
his
shit at all?
I do not pay attention to
autobiography.
the story.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
Alright.
read about it, but I just thought it was weird. Like, why are you mentioning that you got not even fully
guys do-
rejected
yeah,
in
they-
an
Yeah.
autobiography?
Mm-hmm.
He wants the credit or
lame.
whatever. But
Yeah, if she said it didn't happen, then maybe
I mean, who
This could
knows?
be
Maybe
the
they hooked
reason.
up.
they probably did.
They probably just like made out in a fucking laundry room or something. And he was like, that was the love of my life.
Yeah. No, he said we had a brief relationship. It was like, yeah. But all right. Well,
Wait, so you're the youngest you've gone is 4 years.
no, yeah, probably about that.
Okay.
I just feel like when there's that much of an age disparity, it makes you not want to. For me, at least, I think it's like I don't want to say predatory,
Yeah, I think it's predatory.
But
It can be. I mean,
can
it's
be, yeah.
I love how mad people get about Leonardo DiCaprio.
oh,
Yeah, that's-
just
I love that.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing.
Right.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah. People on social media, and then you look at the women getting mad about it, and they're like, just like, how dare he have sex with a 25? It's like none of your fucking business. It's
He's not in a
consensual-
relationship
thankfully
with
they're not
them.
in my feed.
Yeah, it's a consensual relationship, and they just lose their fucking minds about the fact that Leonardo
He
DiCaprio.
didn't get an Oscar. Let him fuck 25-year-olds, dude. It's like
Yeah.
Well, no, it's like I saw a chart. It's like Leonardo
I saw that
DiCaprio's
too,
age
yeah.
versus the age of his girlfriend, and it's like 21, 22, 25, 22, 23. And he's just like hitting 40.
I feel like
40.
at 25 you're an adult. At
Yeah.
25 you're an adult. It's like eye
Yeah.
At
roll
18,
worthy.
you're an adult.
Right.
That's why we have these laws. I've been saying 18-year-old is an adult. You can go to fucking war. You can be drafted. I mean, you can smoke cigarettes, vote. Like you're an adult. And there's like move the goalposts in terms of like emotional maturity. I mean, there is an argument to be made that you're like fucking, frontal lobe isn't like fully developed until you're 25. But like, yeah, I don't think it's predatory to date a fucking 23-year-old if it's like you're 40. Who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like, I mean,
I
the
guess
whole
you
the
do.
whole
I think
idea.
it's infantilizing women.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely have seen cases where like, oh, my 19-year-old friend is dating someone who's 38 and divorced, and it's like she's just like, we're gonna get married, and he's like playing along.
Well, it's funny because
Yeah.
people get mad at dads for being like, I got a shotgun, and if you do anything, I'm here. And like people are like, get rid of that. That's gross. She's her own person. It's like, no, maybe you should have somebody around to be like, hey, there will be consequences if you're like bad. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. Because it's only predatory depending on like what their development was, where they're
Yeah.
from, like what they think. It's like it's
It's
just
a-
so
I do- I
dependent.
really
Like you
do
were saying,
think
like
it's a case by
24-year-olds,
case.
you're like they're annoying. It's like some aren't. It's like people just like mature at different ages and have like different. I don't know. People grow up faster than others sometimes.
Yeah,
They can
dated a
sniff that shit out.
40-year-old, and I was like, I just don't want to fuck you. So then I stopped. So, but there was no like
Yeah.
weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything shitty about him doing that? Like,
Who, Leo?
Yeah, like
No.
once the girl's
No.
25, then he leaves him.
No.
Yeah,
They know what's going on.
they know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
It's so obvious.
Yeah, again, the
It's
only thing
not,
that
like,
should matter
misleading
is
or-
consent. When you like muddle the issue with like like exactly that it's predatory or that like it's like but yeah they're mature but not as mature as he is.
I think it
It's like,
matters
well, then
if
what the
there's
fuck is the point?
authority involved, though. If someone's your boss, or like if you could kind of, if you have no
Well,
power.
yeah, and then you have workplace harassment.
Yeah.
like
yeah, but that's why he's going to third world
countries.
countries and finding these women.
Yeah.
Because it's also like multiple at a time, right? It's not just like one 25-year-old girl at a time. It's like multiple.
Yeah, but if it's
You,
all
like, walk around?
consensual, it's like
Yeah.
who gives a shit?
No, exactly. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying if there's multiple, it's like even more obvious. It's like, oh, this isn't like we're in love. This is
Yeah.
like, hey, I want a lot of beautiful young women around me.
Yeah, it's like, well, never mind. I mean, I could make a point that would just be like concern trolling, but you get in like to like dangerous territory with like talking about power dynamics outside of the workplace, where it's like, well, he's a famous celebrity and she's worried about the consequences, and it's like, well, like that's not, and it's like it is kind of concern trolly. But if like let's make an argument where a black man is accused of rape or whatever, and the woman like consented to it, and it's like, well, he's black. I mean, he's like intimidating. Like how do you know that like
Right,
she didn't
yeah.
feel more intimidated? Because there is obviously like a social phenomenon for whatever reason where white women are still afraid of black men, and I mean it's like you can make like these kinds of shitty arguments to hurt like oppressed groups, and often they are used that way. I mean, it's like like the amount of overlap between anti-catcalling campaigns and like the way black people were treated in the South, like what is it, the Scottsboro Boys or Emmett Till or whatever. Emmett Till, who was literally murdered for like catcalling and stuff. And again, it's like I know it all just comes off as like concern trolling, but like that's the reason why you need to defend like kind of hard concepts like consent is the issue that matters. You don't need to look beyond, to say like, well, what is the power dynamic in this situation? It's like, is this a person that's over 18, then they're an adult, and if they said yes, then that's a consensual interaction.
Right.
And like it's not to protect guys like Leonardo DiCaprio, but because like you need to have some kind of like underlying principles that can't be abused. in other situations.
That's why I had such a hard time, like with the Louis C.K. thing. I still don't know how I feel about it completely. It's like sometimes it bothers me, but ultimately it's like because people are like, well, he was like further along in his career, so it's like, and I get that it's work, but comedy's a little different because people are like, oh, well, he's intimidating, so like they feel like they have to do stuff, you know, because like maybe he could help them or like he's like higher up or whatever, and it's like,
well, somebody,
but like that's it's like when hot people don't realize that they're intimidating in a conversation. You know what I mean? Like some people just don't.
I think the
Take
fact
those
that
things-
it was people were put in that position in the first place.
Well, yeah,
where
because
it's
there was like one he was on set or whatever, and it's like I guess that's a workplace or whatever.
I just want to work.
It's
Don't
also just like
do that at me. It's like, come on. It's more annoying than anything, but it's the fact that then people afterwards were kind of like blacklisted them in a way for like talking
Sure, yeah,
about
that
it.
part sucks the worst, I think. Like,
Yeah, to be treated
Black-
like you're a
it-
troublemaker.
right,
because you
exactly.
brought up,
That's
like,
the
he
worst
did
part, and like
this
that
thing.
sucks. But it's also like I don't know. I've had like people hit on me that are higher up in me in comedy. And it's like either you're interested or you're not. You know what I mean? It's like I don't, you know, because it's never like a thing of like, oh, what could I
Right.
get out of fucking this person? Because if like you're considering that, then it's like, well, that's your own thing. If
Like,
you're
it's not
considering
like-
what you might get for fucking this person, like that's on you. If you want to use your vagina as a credit card, like fine. But it's like.
it's not like they're gonna call their age and be like, Abby Rosenquist didn't fuck me.
Right, yeah.
You know, have them blacklisted. But I don't know. Being a woman's tough, folks. Am I right? Yeah. Well, is that about it? Are we
I
ready
mean,
to wrap?
I've had people blacklisted for criticizing the Pope or saying Mad TV wasn't funnier than SNL.
As they should
There's
be.
a lot of reasons to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
You know what's funny is like there's certain things that are wrong, and then when it's your side, it
It's
feels like it's
okay.
okay.
It's
I mean,
fine, yeah.
I mean, just with politics, it kind of does feel like if people.
well, I mean, but that is like exactly the reason why you need to like have like hard rules about things that may seem uncomfortable, but you know, when the shoe's on the other foot, it's not going to come fucking bite you in the ass. That's why like deplatforming is like, I think, a shitty idea or whatever. You know, say, oh, well, Milo can't be here, and you can like, and then it gets turned into a thing about like, well, don't you want free markets or whatever? And it's like, no, I think you should just like respect the idea of freedom of speech, which there should be like a cultural appreciation of freedom of speech, because a cultural appreciation of it precipitates the legal appreciation of it. And if you get rid of the first one, it's easier to get rid of the second.
You're also making somebody a victim who didn't get to be one before. It's like now they get to be like, people are silencing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone should be able to talk to Louis J. Gomez. Anyone. Yeah.
Egalitarian.
Yeah. No, but sometimes when I look at Bernie, I'm like, people who are against you should be thrown in jail. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
What if I disagreed with you?
It
There's a
it would
closet
just
right
depend. It
there.
would just depend. It would just depend on what it is. Anyway, like throwing Meghan McCain in jail would be really funny. Don't you think?
Oh yeah.
Send her to jail.
Yeah, just like her father,
Just
in
being-
another country.
Yeah.
Milked all day to feed impoverished children.
Yeah.
Just processing Meghan McCain's milk.
Breast milk.
Just hooked up to a machine.
You gotta keep her pregnant.
just feeding all of
Jesus
Detroit.
Feeding what?
Feeding all of Detroit of her milk. That'd be pretty cool.
Like school lunches.
Yeah.
With her picture on it.
Yeah, that's what wealth redistribution is.
Meghan McCain's
She's hooked up to a machine like in Fury Road, and she has to feed all of Detroit.
Maxine Waters like, I'm starting legislation where we take Meghan McCain's sweet ass titty milk and give them to the yeah. They
Well,
use it to go ahead.
By this time next year, I'll be doing Black Voice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's a goal.
It's
We'll get
really
there.
is
Yeah.
good if a podcast is like sort of fizzling out, or you're getting into some gay political discussion you don't want to have again.
Yeah.
You should be like, whoa, boy, where my sandals?
Yeah.
We were having fun again.
Yeah.
Who ate all the pussy?
Have you ever done it before?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
And I did Asian voice at a UCB class, and then I think
you got
that's
reprimanded for it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
stopped the class and they were like, "Hey,
Yeah, Aaron Glazer stopped the class. He was like, "Excuse me."
Who the fuck is
I don't need
stealing
to
my
talk to you
bed?
in the other room about this.
Aaron Glazer, Aaron Glazer walked in dressed as a geisha
yeah,
and
I thought it was really funny because then this married Asian couple came up to me afterwards. Like, he made that really weird.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know why you did that. It was just like this fat UCB teacher.
Yeah, they are like really good sports. They don't mind being
Asians?
made fun of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they know they're like
On top.
on top.
Yeah.
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 They make the most money.
Yeah.
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 And that's like that's on top in my book.
China's just going to
What else is
steal
there?
all of our software and take over the entire tech industry in the next 10 years. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Will
I
you be
can't
an
wait.
Uncle Tom when the Chinese take over?
Absolutely. What, right? Mind if I polish up them shoes for you, Mr. Chan? Oh, you got the nicest shoes in town, Mr. Chan. They're like, you don't have to talk like that.
We actually prefer you don't.
You don't have to.
Don't remind us. We
You
don't like them.
I mean, I'm not offended, but, maybe. Have your fun. It's fine. Make sure you don't fuck up shining my
You're an
shoes.
Uncle Tom for the Chinese, but you talk like Samuel L.
Yeah,
Jackson
yeah,
in Django Unchained. Yeah. Well, I think that's it. Let's see. Oh, also, I do worry if they're going to enjoy comedy when they take over, because they might decide that, like, Ben Rosenfeld is the
No, they're
funniest guy.
content
They
to
love
just
drag.
Yeah,
Anything
drinking
camp.
pee-pee.
Yeah.
Putting pee-pee in people's coke. Does he go to the comedy club and just drink piss all night long? Oh, I can't wait to see comedy show. One Coca-Cola, please.
Yeah. The comedian.
Oh, this Coca-Cola tastes so bad. That's such a good joke.
The comedian on stage is just an afterthought. It's
Yeah.
just like some minimum wage
Then they
work.
go out in the parking lot and they all get in each other's cars.
Whoever's on stage is just like a low wage guy from Guatemala who's just there,
Yeah.
and they just drink piss. Yeah. All right, folks.
You know that one, the classic me Chinese, me play joke, me go pee-pee in your coke?
Well, now I know it.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
no, but there's context to it, like, right?
No,
You would-
that's a classic Chinese joke. You seemed a little
Okay.
lost on that one. That's where,
No.
yeah.
I definitely spaced out a bit.
Yeah,
So.
and then
I'll look it up
And then
later.
there's a Chinese fire drill, which
Got
is
it.
which is where they all just.
Thanks
And
for
then they all look
including-
alike.
I never
So do
got
their
that.
cars.
There was
Right.
a joke
That's
I
the
pretended
rest of
to
the
get
context.
it as a kid. Is people like, did you hear about the fire in the Chinese school? They found all the kids burned to death in each other's desks, and I was like, ha ha ha. It's like, what, the Chinese people are stupid? I didn't get that. Yeah, they're Chinese fire drill.
Yeah.
It didn't click for me.
Yeah. There's a lot of Rodney Dangerfield jokes I'd listened to the other night that I didn't get as a 12-year-old, but I would repeat them. And then also-
Chinese people.
My dad
sit
is
in the wrong
always sending me
seats.
Rodney Dangerfield clips. I'm
Nice.
like, this is what you got to do, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good dad. He knows.
Yeah, he loves it.
Nice. Well, Blair, any takeaways from this podcast? Anything you're going to do differently? Any questions? Any questions you have?
Do you feel more inspired to let
Yeah.
that out of you?
Got it. Okay. Yes, more inspired to not care, but also I'm thinking about, is it cynical or nihilism to not
Yeah.
care?
No, you can care about the issues. I don't think it's necessarily like nihilistic to like know internally that what you're saying is a joke and you don't intend to offend people.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's like a distinction to be made between like I'm going to say things that offend people and not give a shit, and like I understand that I don't harbor these views and they're like either satirical in nature or ironic or whatever it is, and I'm going to present them as such. If you're going on stage and you're like, here's a funny joke, and the punchline and point of the bit is that black people are stupid or whatever, then yeah, you're a fucking racist, and like you probably should feel bad about yourself.
You belong on the Kumi Network.
Yeah,
There we
I
go.
mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, if it's like you shouldn't be concerned with like offending people if you know what your intentions are, and you can't like rationally explain to them like even afterwards. Maybe you owe them that to at least be like, oh hey, like I didn't mean it that way, But anything beyond that, I think is like somebody manipulating your emotions,
Right.
Which is again like I think something that happens in the comedy community because it's like it gives you a sense of like importance or authority in these conversations that you don't really have based on your ability as a comedian.
You just can't take it back or get nervous right afterwards. That's when the people are like, oh, they're nervous because they did mean it in a bad way.
Yeah.
You have to just deliver it and be like, here's the next one.
Yeah. No, I do think I'm getting better about it.
Yeah.
I've done like
'Cause-
very few jokes that I think are like kind of like mean spirited, at least in terms of stand up. And the only times I've done them is because I thought they were funny enough that it's like I have to like I used to do a thing about like passing a Hasidic like fire department and just like laughing, imagining them showing up to a fire being like, well, it's not so much water, Jacob. It's like a little bit less. And the joke is that Jews are cheap and will let somebody burn to death.
Yeah.
And like, that's just race. Like, I have no way of justifying that other than it's fun.
funny.
It's funny to me.
Yeah.
And
So,
his
like-
point of view.
It's not my point of view. I mean, maybe like they'll cut corners in an apartment building and there'll be a wiring
Maybe
issue.
I live in Brooklyn.
Right.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Right.
Maybe I have a landlord.
Did you ever see Mike DiStefano when he was alive?
I can't. I don't know if I did or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when he was around, but I was in Austin at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he was good at that.
Yeah.
You know, doing that kind of material.
You know what it is? I also
Yeah.
I feel safer in a room doing stand up than I do on a podcast. Here I feel like, wow, I can listen back and hear this awful thing again and again and again. Whereas in stand up it's like I can say the fucked up thing and it's fine and I never have to repeat it.
Yeah, but everyone is still like recording you.
Yeah. Increasingly, everything is like recorded,
Yeah. So
and which sucks, but it's also like
So treat life like a podcast,
Yeah.
baby.
it
Yeah.
sucks to be like one of the people in the last like 3 years that's gone viral for like being drunk on the train,
Yeah.
as if that's not a universal experience.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
And in fucking 10 years, like it'll be a video of a guy pissing and shitting himself on the train, and he's like wearing a suit,
yeah.
and he's like, I just found out I'm gay, you know, like whatever, just like a huge spectacle, and nobody will watch it because it happens every single fucking day,
Right.
and that won't be a thing anymore. So it'd be like one of the first people that blew up over some dumb shit. Like the fucking I am a motherfucker guy that like punched that call an ambulance. Remember that video? They turned it into a fucking movie.
Ambulance?
It was a fight
That
on a
sounds
bus.
familiar.
Uh-huh.
It was a fight on a bus, and it got turned into a movie starring Danny Trejo. There's a fucking YouTube video of like a like this like black dude goes up to this like old white guy who's like mentally unstable, and he's like threatening him or whatever, and then he like shoves the older white guy, and the older white guy just like opens his face up. And then the other guy just goes to the back of the bus and he's bleeding, and then his friend's like, oh, call the police or whatever. And people liked it because they're racist, and like it satisfies this like, thug confronts veteran.
Yeah.
They just assumed he's a veteran.
Right.
But then it blew up, and then it turned into like a YouTube video, and it's like fights happen on the public transit all the time.
Yeah.
And like now that everything is like on video, eventually like those aren't gonna, well, hopefully they don't blow up anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any like planned entertainment. It's just going to be fights on the bus.
Well, no, I mean it's like it'll be such like a ubiquitous thing that like I don't know, like we were on the train the other day, and I mean I wasn't even gonna mention it, but fucking like Shane Gillis
Already did.
fucking spilled the beans. But yeah, there was a black lady like verbally abusing her kid, her mentally retarded kid, and which.
He was like spastic.
Yeah, I know you're supposed to call him intellectually disabled, but I think the black community still uses the term retarded. So I think he was mentally retarded.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, she's like verbally abusing him, and it's like, you can't say anything if she's just verbally abusing him.
Just like saying to people like, you see all these people looking at you? You see all these people? Like just like making him a spectacle.
But saying,
I mean, it was like
she's
rough.
like literally saying, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to beat the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
And like you can't say anything or do anything because it's like no matter what, it's going to be interpreted as like me telling a black woman how to parent her kid.
Right.
Captain Save-A-Ho, she called him.
Yeah, well, and at some point she grabs his head and starts smashing it against the fucking window on the train. And so I was like, hey, could you just not?
That's
I was
when
like, could you just not do
interject.
that?
Yeah.
But I mean, the entire time it's like the main reason I don't say anything prior to it is because I don't want some piece of
Which
shit.
is actually racist if you don't interject because you're like, well, I don't like the optics.
Right, right. It's their culture.
Yeah.
That's the
No,
racist
I don't think it's racist.
Or
I mean, I
just-
can
it's
understand it,
not
but
racist, but it's
I
like-
definitely.
to not jump in if they're
I am concerned about the optics, and I don't want to be on
Yeah.
fucking video telling a black woman like, "Hey, you're parenting your fucking kid wrong." Whereas if there weren't cameras everywhere, I would have no problem, just being like, "Hey, stop beating your fucking kid."
right.
Yeah.
At least in public.
Yeah. Well, it's a weird world that we live in, everybody. I guess we're gonna wrap up. Any plugs, Abby?
I don't know. I'm hosting. I'll update my calendar. Twitter at Abby Rosenquist. Instagram Abby Rosenquist.
Instagram Blair Simone. Twitter Your Girl Blair.
Sweet. What are you gonna do differently after this podcast? on
What am I gonna
stage?
do differently?
How about this? You
Drink
said you're
more
not.
before your sets?
You said you're not ready to do black voice. Do a Jewish voice for us.
Do a Jewish voice.
Before we.
My grandmother spoke in an old Hollywood voice. So
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah.
Gloria Swanson.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Nice.
yeah.
And Nick, any final thoughts?
No,
All right.
I
sweet.
said I went off. I
Yeah,
said all my shit.
Yeah.
You live true to yourself.
Yeah.
Look, he who makes a beast out of himself.
Wait, what's the quote again?
It's he who makes a beast out of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man. It's it's the guy just says it at the beginning of Bad Country. He's like, no. This is too good to be a lyric.
Yeah.
It needs to be spoken before the music starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to give in to those animal urges.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
I knew
All
a
right.
guy. I knew a guy who had Avenged Sevenfold tattoos. Not one, multiple Avenged Sevenfold tattoos. And one of them was like their logo is a skull with bat wings.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, is that some Avenged Sevenfold thing? And he's like, well, it's the skull bat and what it represents. I was like, stop. It's like, stop. No, it says bat. It's skull bat. I don't need. It doesn't represent anything. I don't need to hear any more about this.
Nice. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.